Now looking ahead to perhaps future battlegrounds and tracking the elusive many-headed enemy, Aaron Moriarty has been piecing together a profile of evil for the 21st century.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The last time America was attacked, we fought a war in black and white. There were good guys and bad, and evil had a face.
When you looked up, you saw the Akadamo, the red spot on the wings of the aircraft coming in. We knew it instantly.
But 60 years later,
that was war, this is terror.
Milt Bearden, a former senior CIA officer, says, if this is war, it's unlike any war ever fought by this country.
The evil leader doesn't have an address. Adolf Hitler had an address. More recently, Saddam Hussein had an address.
But if there's no address, there is a name.
The focus right now is on Osama bin Laden, no question about it. He's the prime suspect.
Osama bin Laden is a logical suspect.
He has banks. He has shipping companies. He's got investments in blue chips.
The September 11th attack was an elaborately planned and expensive operation, says terrorism expert Steve Emerson, and bin Laden has the money to finance it.
He has people all over the world that have their own bank accounts, so he has that available cash.
Bin Laden, the member of a rich Saudi family, became an anti-American zealot in the 1980s, angered by the U.S.'s presence in the Middle East and support of Israel.
He has one obsessive goal. That is the destruction of his enemies and the spread and fomentation of militant Islam in as far away a place as he can.
Bin Laden is believed to have used his wealth to train terrorists in Afghanistan and is linked to the attacks on the embassies in Africa, the USS Cole, and the original bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993.
He is, for Americans, the metaphor of international terrorism. He is the guy that we have all the TV footage on.
But is bin Laden the mastermind behind this latest attack? Bearden and a growing number of Middle Eastern experts say he may have simply inspired it.
If he is the single force behind it, he has become such an inspirational thing that he doesn't even have to continue to live.
The reality is that spread across many countries, there's a sophisticated network of terrorists sympathetic to bin Laden's cause.
They're in Europe, they're in South America, they're in the Philippines, and they're throughout the United States.
Who are these people?
We're going to find out.
So we don't know.
No, we don't.
What we do know about last week's attack is that at least 3 terrorists came from Germany, where they appeared to be serious students. In this country, they lived middle-class lives in middle-class neighborhoods. They apparently even used frequent flyer numbers to buy their airline tickets online.
The people who, so far, whom the FBI is seeking seem to be perfectly normal, ordinary people who did speak English and who seem to want what every ordinary American wants.
These particular terrorists, says Judith Miller, an investigative reporter for the New York Times, were apparently the best of what the intelligence community calls sleeper agents.
Even for Middle Eastern governments that have had years and decades of experience watching these networks, it's even hard for them to identify the potential terrorists.
But one of the more intriguing clues about these particular terrorists happened to come from a passenger on United Flight 93 that crashed in Pennsylvania. While talking to his wife on his cell phone, he said the hijackers wore red headbands. Up until now, not usually a characteristic of the sect associated with bin Laden. Is there a new kind of soldier in this war?
Sure.
A new soldier, wealthier and better educated than the usual suicide bomber, who may not answer to bin Laden, and who is living among us.
And that, unfortunately, is why these people are so hard to spot.
It may be a new kind of terrorism, but the reasons behind it may be at least a decade old, going back to the 1991 Gulf War.
Well, now the real fun begins.
The U.S. showed up in Saudi Arabia, the custodian to the 2 holy mosques.
Why was that a catalyst?
Because the infidel is at the gates.
They hate us for who we are, as people who have separation of church and state, freedom of thought, capitalism, democracy. Those very concepts that have enabled us to emerge as a superpower.
What do they want?
Go away. I want you to go away.
But is it that simple? And can that rage alone explain the killing of thousands in the World Trade Center?
The rage doesn't make everyone want to blow up buildings. But what it does is invite people like Osama's men to come in and exploit that rage.
These college students, who are either Muslim or of Middle Eastern descent, say they are as shaken as any other American by last week's attack.
I was just in disbelief. I thought it was, the beginning of the end of the world.
They say whatever drove the terrorists,
It was a crime against humanity.
it wasn't religion.
And there's a verse in the Quran which says killing one human being is the equivalent of killing all of humanity.
Suicide bombing is anathema to Islam. It is a sin. These people have hijacked one of the world's great religions, and that is truly tragic.
Then who are these people? That's what most Americans ask. Who are they?
And I think most Americans see these people as just the random Middle Eastern person because they don't know who else to see it as.
This immediate need for that face, for that enemy, get them, this nemesis out there.
But finding the real face of the enemy soon isn't just important to these people. It may be the only way America can win this 21st century war.
Who are these people? Well, I think it's pretty clear we don't know.